Now, here's the latest in agriculture news from the Rural Radio Network.
We are here near York, Nebraska today, visiting with Jerry Stair. He is a farmer out here. We're getting a planting progress update of sorts. And Jerry, we're catching you a day where you did get a little moisture, but talk about what conditions have been coming into this year's growing season.
Powder dry, and it's just been getting worse as that wind blows all spring long. But thankfully we got about probably around 70 hundredths of rain in the last 2 days, and that has been a lifesaver.
Planting is underway for you so far. Size up where you're at with your progress.
We're approximately 75 to 80% right now. So
how are things going?
Normal. which for me, my situation is the first day you always have problems, and then you get going and things seem to work pretty good, but then as time goes on, there'll be something else happens. It's just the way it is, but it's not bad. And my son is a lot better at the electronic side of it than I am, and that's where most of the problems occur. So thankfully, we haven't had to call our main man this year. Brian's solved all of them for us. So
that's good to hear. Let's back up a little bit. We talked about the dry conditions going into this year. Have you had to make any special considerations going into this planting season because of that?
We just keep going a little deeper every day, and right now we're planting corn at 2.5 inches, and then we've been the row cleaners, which we haven't hardly used at all the last probably 4 or 5 years. We're using them extensively to make a path and get stuff out of the way and get down to good dirt. So. Or soil. Excuse me, it's soil. There's not dirt, it's soil. Excuse me.
One of the things I like about Nebraska is how unique it is from one end of the state to the other, even just small geographic changes. You see a big difference in how people go about their planting seasons. What kind of field work do you do here in the York area before entering with the planter?
Pretty much we're no-till. And I used to be 100% ridge till, and it was kind of evolved. If I have beans, well, we're 50 and 50, and basically on the bean ground we no-till into it. And on the corn ground is basically, we'll hit it once with the cultivator and put up a ridge, and then we ridge plant on top of that. So that's where my beans go the next year.
You were sharing with me, you got a kind of a special project, doing a little bit of a trial with some dwarf corn. What is that all about?
Well, it's a seed corn company, and we've been putting in a plot for them the last few years, but they have some varieties, some new varieties coming out of a short dwarf type variety. So the rep is very excited about it, so it's going to be kind of fun to see how it turns out.
What's the hope? What are they hoping to accomplish with dwarf corn?
Well, I think the fact that hopefully standability. I'm sure you're not going to want to put it on real hilly ground because it's going to be tough to get it out of the field. But I can see some benefits. Like I said, stock quality should be one of them. It should be a lot harder to blow over a 3 or 4 foot stalk than 8 or 9 foot.
What follow up? That's a kind of a cool project to hear about.
I'll tell you more this fall.
That sounds good. Well, of course, everybody's hoping for continued rain at this point as planting is underway in Nebraska. What are you keeping your eye on? What are you most hopeful for besides rain this year?
Well, that old adage, I don't know, plant in the dust, the bins will bust. Yep. That's what I'm praying for this year, because we are planting in the dust. It has really been, pretty, the conditions been kind of brutal this spring. The wind just does not quit, and it's like it blows from the south and piles up in the north, and then it has to come back and even out and go to the end. And maybe that's how the weather works. I don't have any idea, but what we're hoping for is that yes, we'll get some adequate moisture and maybe even more. I mean, hopefully we won't have to do much irrigating this year. Let's put it that way, because usually that's kind of the way it turns out when you have a terribly dry year, and it's been that way probably since last mid-June or July of last year. So we're always optimistic out here. That's the thing.
You have to be as a farmer, right?
Yes, otherwise you can go crazy.
Comes with the territory. That is Jerry Stair joining us out here near York, Nebraska, as we get an update on planting progress thus far.